Hello there, I wanted to do a video on networking issues and how to get your code to work in multiplayer. So let's go visit the world. And I wanna demo my very futuristic advanced weapon technologies here. As you can see, I have this weapon here, and notice how I'm dumping the UT weapon class because I wanted to do it from scratch myself because I don't know, I like to do stuff like that. And so this is actually just an attachment to the mesh. It's not actually its own weapon class. And I'm creating the particle effect myself. That's my own particle effect, as you can probably tell. And I rather like it. And this I'm doing all this myself, basically in code. I'm not using the UT system, the UT weapon system, which means none of it's going to replicate in multiplayer. So so this is what it looks like in single player, but in multiplayer, basically, there's no point in making a separate video. Just know that nothing happens. Because notice how the arms go back. Notice how the projectile fires, and notice how the actual particle effect on the weapon, equivalent of a muzzle flash, goes off. None of this happens in multiplayer because I'm doing it all myself, so none of it's already replicating for me. So I basically have to write my own code to make all of this happen in multiplayer. Because in multiplayer currently, this is what happens. You know, and yet you're pressing the fire button, but literally nothing looks like it's happening. So I'm going to show you the code to fix this issue. So I managed to get the basic code for my own weapon system working in multiplayer. So let's go visit the world, and I'm gonna now switch over to the other window. So it's a little more complicated than you might think to do this in Fraps. Here we go. Perfect. So now notice how the arm movement works, right? And then also the muzzle flash works. So I actually can't zoom in because I'm using the other window now. But you can see that everything is showing up the way we want. And before it wasn't. So I'll show you the code that I used to get this to work. And I'm actually using unreliable for these effects because they're not game breaking if they don't arrive on time. But there's other effects that must arrive on time, like the actual damage dealing projectile that we still haven't replicated yet. So as you can see, there's no projectile like there was in single player. So I'm going to show you the code for why this works, and then you'll see then I'll show you how to get projectiles working. Alright, so this is a demonstration of the projectile bounce code actually working correctly. So the way I'd set this up is that the projectile is actually being spawned by each client, so the bouncing works correctly. If I were to do this differently and try to simply replicate the velocity of the projectiles, then I would have to replicate the velocity constantly, incessantly, in order for the bouncing to work correctly, because when the projectile bounces, its direction changes, right? You can't just simulate it because you're not accounting for changes in the direction. You can guesstimate where something's going to go as the server using simulated if it's going in a straight line, but if it's like bouncing and stuff and moving in different directions, and the actual velocity is being altered by a function in code, just simulating it isn't going to work, and then one solution is to replicate the velocity in the direction so that as it changes it gets updated. Or the way I did it is to just actually have each client spawn the projectile itself, and then you're not replicating anything, except all I'm replicating is a single Boolean variable saying, yeah, please shoot this thing. And then it looks like the other person's doing it, but actually it's the actual client whose window you're looking through that's actually spawning this projectile. And then all the bounce code works correctly. So this is, as far as I can tell, the most efficient way to do it, and saves all sorts of network bandwidth and makes everyone very happy. I don't know if bandwidth's the right word, but you know what I'm saying. But just look at all the complicated bounces. That was at least, if I had more geometry, you could see more bounces. But trust me, all the bounces work, and they work on both machines. Because I'm playing on the other machine, and I can tell you, or the other window, and I can tell you the bounces are working correctly. See, look, that's a lot of bounces right there. So I can get. Well, anyway, so that's showing, as far as I can tell, the most efficient way to handle a more complicated projectile movement where there's bouncing involved and actual changes to the direction occurring.